image map tool. So if you haven't installed Gimp already, just go to gimp.org, click on the download link on the front page, and then select the installer for your operating system, and then install it. Once you've installed it, open it up, just as I'm doing right now, and then we'll go on to opening the file we'd like to create an image map for. If you didn't know previously, Gimp is an image manipulation program as indicated on the page and the program itself. It's akin to, say, Photoshop or Fireworks. It's high-end, just as they are. Now that you have Gimp open, to open up the image, just go to File, Open, select the image, and then it opens it. This window here is for manipulating the image, not for manipulating or creating image maps. To do so, you need to go to Filters, Web, Image Map. That will bring up the image map tool. Now that you have the image map tool open, I generally like to full screen it. Now that you have it full screen, you can see there are three sections. Here are the three shapes we could create. First of all, so rectangles, circles or ovals or polygons. I'm only going to be using squares here or rectangles. The far right contains a list of hotspots that we've created within the image map, and the center part obviously is the image that we're trying to create hotspots for, or an image map for. So let's just dive into it. So the first thing we're going to do here is create a hotspot for this guy here, which is the principal, as indicates below. Once we have selected the right area, click, and it will ask us for the URL. So we need to put the URL that will come up when the person clicks on that part of the image. And I'll show you quickly an example of a hotspot. Let's say on here, if someone wanted to go to the flip pets, whatever that is, then they could see that if I go that part of the page, these are the flip pets. The link that you want to go to, so that's that URL, is this. When I click on it, flip pets will come up. The other thing, when I go over it, I will then see the title flip pets, which is a title. Likewise here, when I'm over this guy, when I've selected him, I'm going to want to know his URL, and the alt is that title. So the URL here generally is in the form like this. So if I put that, when I clicked on that part of the image, it would bring me to google.ca. But in this case, we have our own processor that will then convert those into that, so we can create hotspots quicker. So if you look here, there's only, by default, there's HTTP, HTTPS, mail to, and tell. But we have person, and then you'll give, say, James Frank, and that will point to a user called James Frank in their page, etc. Def is for a definition, so we could say in a textbook, thermodynamics, when a person clicks on something that says thermodynamics, the definition for thermodynamics will come from the database then. They click on something that starts with page, ://33, then it'll bring them to page 33 of that book. They type SKU : //, then the number of the SKU, say 3239, then that will get the information for the database about where that's supposed to link to, what the name of the product is, etc., and dynamically create the hotspot, or the image map in that case. And then the last one is telephone, which is this telephone : //, and then the telephone number. All of these, though, translate into these, but it's just these allow us to connect these two databases. So ignore that while I'm giving these descriptions and just pretend that these are just using these four that actually do exist. So HTTP, HTTPS, mail to, and tell, which are all valid within our platform anyways. So for this person, I said they're person, so person : //, and I'm going to put their name as Bud Young. Just as we saw on that other page, it's good to put a description of that person, or product or whatever it may be. So I'm going to put Principal Bud Young. They're a person, their name is Bud Young. They'll have a profile or list of pictures that will come up when you click on them in search. And then you press OK. And now we have one hotspot. Now we need to create 5 more. But first I'm going to save. So save as. I'm going to save in my photos. The name generally is such. They take the name of the file that you opened. They put brackets around it, followed by imported, which are enclosed by imported parentheses, .map. So you save it. I have to replace in this case. But there, now you've saved it. Now I'll create 3 more like this. I don't know what I did with that one, so I created one where it wasn't supposed to be, but I'm going to undo create, that's fine. So I'm going to create this one. So the URL, it's a person, it's Nicole DeMars. I'm going to put Nicole DeMars here, it's the alt text, apply. Now notice here we don't have, once we press apply, it automatically puts on the far right hand corner the new entry. So this is the second hotspot we have here. So Nicole DeMars is the second one, the first one was Bud Young. Now we don't have to close this or press OK to go on to the next one. We can actually just continue, and this makes it faster. So you just go like this, the next one, and now it's already moved the settings window here to be the one for the currently created hotspot. So person Trevor Cox. Okay, put here as our alt tag, probably running back Trevor Cox, because that matches with their description below. Now I'm going to have to create some page links as I've already described here. So I want whenever the user clicks anywhere around here, it's going to go there. So here I just put page :/ /8, apply. Page :/ /50, apply. Page :/ /64, apply, and then OK, we're done. Now we can look in the far right. We can see, okay, those were all the URLs. We had these pages, we had these people, these were the alt tags, and that's it. And if we double click on any of these, it will reselect that specific one. Now, this is an image map. It doesn't mean it's the only image map that's associated with that image. An image map is just a file, actually. So what we need to do here is just to see what happens if we need to make changes, because we may need to do changes later on. So how you do that is you just close it, and we'll just pretend that, okay, so now we have to make some change. I don't know what it is. But what we do then is we open the image just as we normally would, then go to Filters, Web, Image Map. So we go back to the image mapping tool. Now again, we could have multiple image maps for the same image, but we're only going to be ever using one personally, but that's fine. But we need to open our image map file. And voila, now we have all of our tools again. So File, Open, and choose your image map file. Now it's all back, and if we needed to change something, so say for example, we thought this didn't go quite as high as it should have, like that. It took some of the border here, some of the border there. We didn't want any red in this picture. There, we've done that. Now file save, and it's done. So now we've made changes. So now we're able, and if we want to delete, we just go over, select it, and delete. I'm going to undo, so I did undo. And again, file save. Now if you notice, part of the process we did there was we did it, basically created or took the, we basically made a rectangle around the area that we wanted, and then we typed in the page each time. Some people like putting all the rectangles first and then clicking on each one and putting in the links. Whatever's fastest for you is best. Another thing that you could do to speed things up is you could actually go to File, Open, and open multiple files like this if you're doing a large book. So File, Open, just select multiple ones at once, and Gimp can handle it. And then once you just go to Filters, Web, Image Map. For this one, for example, an image map for this one will come up. And then we could go Web, Image Map again for this one, for the new one. And now we have another one. So we could actually have multiple ones open at once. It doesn't really matter. And then what you do is you close the ones that you've already done the image maps for. And that's what's important about keeping consistent naming, so you know how many you have left. So again, the tool is quite simple. You just open it, save your image maps, put your image links exactly where you want, what you like them to see, integrate them into your HTML appropriately, and they should just work. For those of you who are using our tool, we have person links, definition links, page links, SKU links, and telephone numbers. So I think that's all that which we could say about this. The last part, of course, is that we do have a hot spotting tool that allows us to check them, because hotspots should always be checked to make sure that we're pointing to the right places. So if you go to a page like this, you can see where the hotspots are quite clearly, and then you just go over them and make sure that they work. If you're making a big publication, you generally go through the whole book, click on it, on each one, and make sure they're going to the right place, because there can be mistakes made. Sometimes you'll have a 900-page book and there'll be one or two mistakes, but that's fine as long as they're caught before publication. So that's all I have to say about creating image maps in this context. If there are any more questions, just look on gimp.org or other pages and you should be able to find them. Thanks.